Welcome to the Technical Point channel. This is Santosh Kumar. Today we will learn about config map. So, first of all, config map it is an object in Kubernetes cluster, and it contains the information about the configuration data of application. So suppose we have a application, and suppose we have uh, we have created application in Spring Boot application, and then we have the some environment variables we have defined in it like IP address, port, or DB name, or other things like URL of the connection to the database or other things. So we will store in it in the deployment descriptor. But if we deploy it in the Kubernetes cluster, then suppose if we want to change, then we have to recreate the image, and we will have to deploy it again. So therefore config map into picture, so that it is independent of the running pod or container, so that we don't need to recreate the image, and also don't need to change in the deployment descriptor, and we don't want to recreate the image, and so that we can separate it separate the configuration values of our application from the code, so that no need to change the code, and we can deploy it. So also suppose if we want to change the IP address according, suppose we have a application running in different environment like development environment, local environment, or like QA environment, or production environment, or UAT environment, so that we can create different config map or different variables, so that we don't need to change the uh, values, and also it will be independent of the application running pod. So let's go to the code first. Suppose we have a we have a deployment like employee service, and in the employee service we have a deployment, we have the image already created, and then we have environment uh, SQL host, or DB name, or others DB user, or URL like IP address, or other things. But if we don't use it, like uh, uh, if we don't use the config map, then we have to change the URL or password, or connection to the database, as for example, um, uh, and then we have to change the IP address and port, username, host, everything we have to describe it in the uh, deployment descriptor, and of the Spring Boot application. Um, and if we want to change it again, then we have to commit the code again, and then create the image again, and then we'll have to deploy again. So now if we use this if we want to use the config map, so first of all we have to create the config map like this. So in this config map, first of all we have to create the API version. We have to provide the API version, and kind is a config map, and metadata means we have to give the information about the config map name, and data is DB name. Okay, so this is the information, like DB name implied DB is there. Okay, so and in the now if we create the config map like DB name, and employee DB is there. Now we have the employee deployment. So employee deployment dot YAML, in previously first of all we have to in the previous way we can do that. In environment we can provide the hard code like value, like a DB name as a DB name and DB name, and then value is implied DB. So if we separate it the from a different environment for QA, QAT, production, or another environment, and other information like IP address of the production URL, or IP address of the port name of the production environment, and also it can be changing. So for QA environment, IP and port will be changed, URL also will be changed, connection to the database also change. So this information we can store it in the config map, and like this, and here we can provide the URL, IP address, port, anything, and according to the different environment, and we can create for the config different, we can create a different config map for different environment also, or even in the same file also we can create the different name for different environment, and then we can provide it from here, like uh, uh, we have to provide the environment, under environment we have to provide the name as value from, and then we will provide the config map, and then config map key, and then name, and config, and here it is key means DB name. So name this name should be same as the this name, metadata name, and key name should be same, should be like key should be like same as the this in config map. Okay, understood? I think you have understood now. So let's create the config map again, and then we will do again. Okay, so first of all we will delete that. kubectl, delete. I have deleting, then again creating this so that you can see the changes. Now we are now suppose we have created this config map like this. We have provided the DB name, implied DB, and then we have provided the metadata, config map, version, everything is there. Now we will apply it. Okay, now config map we created. So to see this config map is created or not, we can provide the command like kubectl get config maps, get config map. Okay, so it will show the details of all the config maps created in our environment. Okay, and and also if we want to describe it, if kubectl describe, and then config. Describe config map. So it will show the details. So here data we have provided the DB name, and value is like this. If we want to encrypt the this name also, then we can use the binary data, and here it will show the encrypted value. And but we have to store it for this, then we have to use the base 64 encrypted data here. so that it will be mm, encrypted value of configuration. Okay, so uh, config map is created. Now if we want to deploy it, so suppose we have already created the deployment file for employee service, so we can deploy it. So first of all we can I want to delete it. Actually I have already created deployment, but I want to show you, so therefore I am deleting this. So now employee deployment is deleted. Now if you want to again deploy it, so we have to write the command kubectl apply, and then dash f, apply dash f, and employee deployment dot yaml means we are applying the deployment, and then file is employee deployment dot yaml. Okay, so let's see the deployment is created or not. Let's check it. Kubectl get all. So if we see that employee deployment is created, pod is created, and um, uh, mm, pod is created, and config map is also created. So if we see this image, so this is the deployment, and deployment we wants to get the environment variables, like whatever the environment related to running this deployment. It will call to the config map, and it will get the value, and from the key, and it will get the it will run the deployment. So if we see this from uh, from examples, like we have the deployment. So here we have provided that value from the db name is db, environment variable is this, from environment we have provided this, and it is the uh, name is db name, and we want to find the value from config map. uh, so we have to provide that value from, and this keyword, and also we have to provide that config map key reference, and key reference, and name is the key reference, and name will point to name is the imp config, and it will point to this uh, in config. And here also for key db underscore name. So similarly we are providing the simple plain text data. So db underscore name is employee db. If we want to encrypted form, then we can use binary data. Otherwise we can use the we can use the plain text. Okay, and that's it. This is the configuration we can do it. And similarly if we want to do it different namespace for different applications, like running in different namespace, then we can provide the namespace also. So actually all the all the pods related to the namespace, it will be pointing to that, and its scope will be only in the same namespace. So like I suppose as we have seen the image, this is the same pods and deployment and config maps are in the same namespace and in the same cluster, so it will be accessible to that. And Kubernetes cluster will store this config map as an object, and it is stored in the etcd. And we cannot we cannot directly access from that etcd. And we can access from we can access the config related values, all the values related to different environment, or whatever the environment config map related environment variables we have provided. We can access it from config map. Okay, so this is the uh, this is the main example. I think you have understood that. and means the deployment of this pod will access to this config map, and we can get the access and get the running variable, and it will get the value from the config map. So if we see that here the db name, it will provide the uh, uh, mm, it will provide, and it will provide it from the config map, and it will get the db name as employee ID. So uh, our pod is running, and it has the it is connected with the database, like database db name as employee ID. So let's check it. Suppose this is the IP address. This is the IP address of the Kubernetes cluster in our Minikube. Actually, in my system, Minikube is running. So this is the IP address of Minikube, and this is the port name. This is the port name of the uh, this pod. So for showing pod, like this is the service. So if we deploy the application, then we have the pod, and also we have the service name, and we have the deployment also. We have deployment also, imply service, and also it will show the replica set as one, and this is the service name, and it will this service is defined as load balancer. You can see that I have defined the service name also, service also. So in the same file. So we have provided the type as load balancer. So port will be will be shown here, like this is the port 30308. Okay, let's see this. So if we hit this 30308, uh, 30308. Okay, so here we can provide 30308. 308. I think it is not connecting to the Kubernetes cluster. Network is giving issues, I think. Sorry for the interruption. Actually, my network is by not properly working, so that's why I have changed something. So now I have changed something. What I have changed, I am telling you. I have changed the load means from load balancer type is I have mentioned type as node port, not from load balancer. If we use the load balancer, then this port name will be changing again and again every time. Every time if we deploy again, then the port will be changed. So therefore, to fix the port, we have used the node port. Okay, and this is the small change only I have done, and we have deployed it using kubectl get kubectl apply like this command, and after that we got the it is deployed properly, and if we see that the pod is pod is already created, is running, and also for employee service there is a service is also running, and it is the target port will be the accessible port will be 30107, which I have mentioned here, 30107. And if we want to hit that to check that, and then we have to hit the URL, this URL, and this is the URL. Now if we send this, then we can get the output. That's it. This is the output. So suppose if we want to change something, config map, different variable, then it should give the result. So you see that this is also giving the result for config map, but this is the request parameters. Okay, so this is about config map. So and in recap, I will revise it again. So first of all, uh, we have we have created a config map, and for this config map we have provided the API version kind, and kind is config map, metadata is metadata name imp config, and we have provided the data db name. So this is the and also this is the config map in configuration, and here we have provided the key value, key is db underscore name. This is the uh, same as in the environment variable db name. Okay, here we have provided the value from config map uh, config map and then config value from config map from ref key ref, and we have provided the name is imp imp config is the same as uh, imp config is the same as the this metadata name, and db underscore name is same as here. Okay, this is binded to this like db underscore name. So we can use config map in like shared environment, and we can use for different with different namespace, and for we can create the different config map for different environments, so that we don't need to change the code, we don't need to change the deployment descriptor, and also we can use the same image whatever we have created again already, we have created already, just we can change from here. So that's it, and thank you. We will connect in the next video. Okay, thank you.